Good morning, everyone. Today we look at the critical analysis of the essay that we learned in the last class of truth. So, when we looked at the essay, we realized that Francis Bacon or Sir Francis Bacon starts his essay referring to the ancient Roman governor, Pilate, right? Pilate had made the situation critical without doing an analysis of truth, right? Pilate asked for truth, but he did not wait for it. If he would have known the truth, he might not have, or he would not have passed the judgment to crucify Christ, right? When we read the Bible, we know that it is said that Pontius Pilate had interrogated Jesus before his crucifixion. When you read the Gospel according to St. John, chapter 18 and verse 37, Jesus proclaims that everyone on the side of truth listens to me. To this, Pilate had mockingly replied, "What is truth?" Right? And then he just left Jesus to address the Jewish clergy who were hell bent on getting Christ crucified, even over a thief, Barabbas, right? So there is no official record of Jesus' reply to Pilate to the question, "What is truth?" But Christians largely believe that Pontius Pilate had looked down upon truth. See, when you read John chapter 14 and verse 6, the Gospel according to St. John, chapter 14 and verse 6, Jesus tells his disciple Thomas, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Right? So, what we see here is Pilate being very dismissive of truth. God, on the other hand, created truth, he personifies truth. The essay, though it's framed by references especially relevant to Christians, Bacon makes us understand that, or he leads us to the conclusion that truth is God, right? He then talks about skeptical minds who are not easily convinced. He doubts that Pilate was also skeptical, right? Definitely, there are people who do not have strong beliefs. Numerous people are there in the world who change their minds frequently. They consider that fixed beliefs are a sign of mental slavery. So, whenever they think or take decisions, they use their free will and they stubbornly ignore every belief. Right? In Greece, there was a school of philosophers having skeptics. Now, they've died now, but the skeptical people are seen even today in the world. Now, Francis Bacon says that why is it that people don't speak the truth? Now, he says there are many reasons behind not speaking the truth. One of them is that the discovery of truth requires effort, it requires time, right? So, we need to, like, there should be effort and time that should be invested to discover the truth. People are not willing to do that, right? And the second reason which Bacon provides for not speaking the truth is it's a little difficult for us to understand, but it is that when it is discovered, people hardly believe it, right? So he talks about lies. He is of the view that lies attract people, but no one adopts truth. And he is confused that why is it that people tell a lie for the sake of a lie? But he also understands that poets sell lies because it gives pleasure to human beings. Merchants or traders tell lies because they want to sell their goods. And they lie for the sake of a lie. But it is not something that is good. It's not something that we can understand really. That is what Bacon says, right? So, he says, you need to have time and effort, right? You need to put in time and effort, and you also need to believe it. Then only will people speak the truth. And how does how is truth different from a lie? Bacon gives us a real life example. He says that if we see a spectacle on the stage in daylight, it will look as it is, right? On the other hand, if the same show is presented in candlelight, it would attract more people. It would give more pleasure to the audience, right? Lies, in the same way, have beautiful and shiny covers, due to which people like to lie instead of telling the truth. But he also says that if truth were mixed with a lie, it would also give pleasure. And people have also created their own false beliefs. They have created judgments, opinions. And if these things were snatched away from them, their condition would become miserable, because these are the things that give them hope and a strange kind of pleasure. Right? So, Bacon goes on to speak about poetry. Is poetry a lie? Is, if so, is it harmful? According to Bacon, it is not so. He says the early writers of the church called poesy a devil's wine. Right? He says it's because it exaggerates things, it's full of fancies, right? It also takes a person to the world of imagination. Therefore, the church called poetry a lie and harmful to human beings. Bacon agrees that poetry is a lie, but he does not agree with the fact that it is harmful. He says it's a false allegation. It's not harmful to human beings. He says it's not at all harmful. He says you can divide lies into two categories: short term and long term. Poetry tells lies, but people soon forget it. Therefore, it does not cause any harm to them. The only lies that are harmful are those lies that sink into your mind and those that are difficult to forget, right? Bacon also says that the first thing that God created was light, right? First, He created light, then He he gave human beings the rational faculty, right? And since then, He has been illuminating human minds. So, Bacon tells us that whenever you take a decision, you should rely on your rationality. If you rely on your rational belief, it would be based on truth, right? So, he says, that realization of truth is the greatest pleasure in the world, right? When someone realizes the truth, he becomes aware of its importance. He also recognizes his false beliefs, silly hopes, and he says, truth also nips in the bud pride, because pride is something that makes a person pitiful. So, what is the importance of truth, right? So, Bacon feels that truth has its own significance. When we do a deep critical analysis, we realize that Bacon believes that truth has its own significance. He says, falsehood brings disgrace, but truth brings honor. Even those people who do not speak truth, they understand its value, they understand its worth. And he also says that truth is not just required in the field of theology and philosophy, but also in every field of life, in every arena, in every area of life. Then he refers to Montaigne, right, the French essayist. I had told about Montaigne in the last class. They are two contrasting essays, because Montaigne is more emotional and Bacon is more rational, right? So Bacon here refers to Montaigne, who says, Montaigne says that a liar is always brave towards God, but a coward towards human. By telling a lie, a liar directly challenges God. He knows that he has to face God on doomsday, but yet he promotes falsehood. That means he's brave enough to get punishment. He knows that, like, I'm ready to face the punishment that I'll get in the next world or in eternal life, right? So he quotes, or he refers to Montaigne here. And when we reach the towards the end of the essay, we find some kind of moral values. Bacon tries his best to convince his readers. He compels them to speak the truth. And the last argument in which he advances is the fear of doomsday. So he says, a liar will be punished on the judgment day. Doomsday refers to the judgment day, right? So when we analyze this entire essay, we understand that this essay begins by making a genial observation. It mocks those who refuse to admit that there is objective truth that needs to be acknowledged by all. Right? So Bacon almost laughs as he says that people often have a natural love for lying, even when lying yields no great advantage. So truth resembles light, and Bacon's opinion is that many people prefer to flirt with darkness because they take some pleasure in lies and take to lying almost without need. Right? So Bacon asserts that truth is the greatest good that a man can possess. And where does truth come? And why is it so important? Bacon asserts, or he gives us the answer. He says that truth comes from God. and consequently, it brings us closer to God. And naturally, truth provides us with great pleasure, the greatest pleasure, right? So, to conclude, we can say that in this particular essay, at any cost, right? Appreciates those people who stick to the truth. So we understand that the tone that he uses in this essay is didactic. The style is lucid. The examples are rich, as I mentioned in the last class, from Greeks, from Romans, from other subjects, and various philosophers, and knowledge of the writer in every field of life. So, we understand that Bacon has made a critical analysis of his own experiences and then written this essay of truth. So, in short, we can say that the whole essay is worth reading for the person who wants success in both the worlds. It is this world and also the next world or eternal life. So, that is this essay for you of Truth by Francis Bacon, the analysis. We had dealt with it in the last class. I hope this is clear to you. If you have any questions, please ask me. If not, I think so. This essay is of great importance and it tells us why it is and what is the importance of truth. Thank you very much.